talk about objects seen over the moon, and talk about it a little bit, think about it, and videos and pictures. Man, some amazing stuff today pouring in from all over the world, from subscribers and friends and viewers from everywhere. Really interesting what's going on here in terms of pulling together a community, which is what I wanted to talk about. I know I said this in my last videos, but I want you to hear this, okay? There's been over 500,000 views of my channel. There's been over 80% of them are liked. Over 7,500 subscribers. Now, this is only in 3 months, and this is not an ego statement. What it is that we're finally starting to break above the kind of the tinfoil hat community. And I want you to know that serious people from around the world, you are not alone anymore. We are collaborating at a level never seen before. A couple other notes is look, man, I'm a Christian, right? I get that I get my background, I get my bias, I get my culture. I have other viewers, though, that are from Muslim countries, or I have viewers from Hindu countries, or I have, from all over the world that may not have your cultural bias. And I want you to be very sensitive to them because they may not, necessarily fall down and worship the book of Revelation, but they have their own writings and they have their own truths. And anybody that seeks God is going to find them. So I don't care what direction you come at this from. If this is another building block in your spiritual relationship with God, that's great. I'm asking everybody to be tolerant of other people's cultural and moral biases. And there are some people that don't believe what you believe. That's great. We're having a discussion, not an insult session, and I won't tolerate it. Next thing is, we're all trying to learn the truth. We're going to make mistakes. I've made mistakes. All the Nibiru researchers have made the mistakes. And one of the things you'll see with shills and trolls is they'll go after those mistakes like a bulldog on a meat pile. So if you're watching them kind of expose our mistakes over and over again, it's just another way to get you off the ball. You say lens flare, I say light refraction. So basically I want to take you to the video, start out with our kind of internet sites that we have up for today. And let's do this. Get them all over here. Excellent. Sorry for the delay. Usually I have a pretty smooth transition when I do this. All right, so this is King's Observatory real-time in Georgia, and this is the first time I've seen the refraction effect. Now, maybe others have seen it in the United States before, but you'll notice that this is on the East Coast, southern. Kind of makes sense that they'd start to see it coming from the north based on what we're seeing happening in the South Pole. The only reason I wanted to bring it out, I can't explain it yet, the only reason I want to bring it out, this is the first time I've seen this refraction in Georgia ever, and I've looked at Georgia 100 times, and this is the first time I've seen that light refraction there. So take a look. Next all sky cam image, this is just your normal Australia stuff, but what's interesting today is that this is nighttime, real time, because it's central time in the United States, but this is nighttime in Australia. And here we can see we're still seeing that refraction or whatever. And again, it bears witness that if you're in the South Pole, it's possible that you'd start seeing it from the north side in Georgia. It's just starting to put my head around that a little bit. Any comments are appreciated. Here is in Mexico. I always like to take a look at these in every one of my videos, but it's interesting because you almost have to watch these cameras real time now because they're taking down so many images. But anyway, here's what happened this morning. Again, we have that strange lens flare, and then we start to see the object appear. Again, this is the approaching red star, and as you'll hear in some interesting interviews that I'm going to link you to, that's the dangerous one. That's one we got to watch for. And then watch this weird little wisp of smoke go across. I thought that was kind of neat. Next one, this one again is in Acapulco. Let's see what happened in Acapulco today. Now, see the moon, and it has this little object next to it. We're gonna see this in many of the images that I show you today. But I just wanted to point out that yes, look, there's an object by the moon. I don't know what it is. And I was mostly wanting to show the moon set there so you could see that object. Next, I'd like you to take a look at my brother Tumbler Ridge. He had done a video. He's up in the hinterlands of the north and got a very good shot of what I think is possibly the star. But what I would also like to remind my viewers, if you get a picture of the sun and you see an object through your viewfinder or through your lens or whatever, couple things. Don't take the picture through any kind of glass at all if you can avoid it. And number two, put your thumb up in front of the sun as to block the light from the internal lens mechanism, And if that object still appears, it's real. I didn't see him do this on this one, but it's compelling because he's got a couple different views of it from a couple different days that seem consistent. Take a look. This one is Ben Time Traveler. I don't know why I kept going there. We'll just leave that alone. But here, Ben actually has some old footage, and maybe you can jump on and take a look at that. But this is old NASA, apparently, footage that I think is pretty interesting to take a look at. Next one, US UK. Take it for what it's worth. Another kind of video on this thing. Here's the one that got me. When this got to the Sergeant Report, that's when I paid attention. This is that story about the high-ranking executives from FEMA and banks and so forth are starting to disappear. Go take a look at that. That's one of the signs I'm looking for. Is if I start to see people disappear, especially dignitaries and stuff, I'm going to start stocking my fallout shelter, if you will, or get ready for the fallout shelter. Here's Shill Killer, my one of my favorite, closest friends and colleagues on this project. But take a look at Shill. He does a lot of really in-depth views at specific things and does a great job. And I would recommend that you take a look at the Brown Dwarf Shows itself on webcam. It was a very good video he just put up. Next one is Avail Koss. Take a look at the moons in the East Coast. I think this might have been a debunked video, but take a look. This one freaked me out. From the Daily Mail and other news sources, we see the big Phoenix Aurora Borealis shape. I just think that's weird and and strange. Wow, right? I don't think it has anything much to do with Nibiru, though. Now this one from Jay Williams. I also have some stills of this, but this big red thing or cloud or whatever is obfuscating the light of the sun that's causing it to poke out of the top. I've seen this thing before right over my head. I didn't have a camera, but I've been seeing it all over the place. This big, I don't know, red cloud. Take a look at this video. Next one, Dan Flynn put up a video that I think is pretty interesting with an interview from a, supposedly it's a insider, military, CIA guy, whatever, talking about that the large bodies that came into our solar system stopped. Now, I've often thought that that could be possible because how come I'm seeing stuff that we saw in 2014, still seeing it in relatively the same place? Maybe there's some answers here that we can look at and learn from in terms of this. But they also said the red one is not stopping, and it's not. It is playing by the rules of physics, but the other bodies are not. Almost under, I don't know, intelligent control is what they're saying. I don't know, but it is an interesting video. And then finally, this. Why did it take so long for them to tell us about this big ass, explosion over the Atlantic? It just was released just yesterday, I think, or the day before. Take a look at it. But again, if you haven't heard about it, there was a big meteor that exploded over the Atlantic, just like the Chelyabinsk situation happened. Okay, let's go to some photographs now from subscribers around the world again. I like this photo. This comes from Kansas because this is the first time that I saw this phenomenon. This is not the lens flare effect you usually get. What you get is a blue dot or a bluish dot and then surrounded by red. This looks like more of a straight-on picture of the winged thing or whatever we call it. Some people call it the serpent, whatever. Just a fantastic photograph. This is just in Lake Biston now, and they wanted to show me that every day now it's this red color. And he's been taking pictures of it and just confused by it. We know that actually it's the red iron oxide. Here's one of the moon shots I'll show today. One, we have something strange up there, but the one that I'm pointing out right now is, remember in that video from Mexico, we saw this little teeny light or this little object or whatever. Here's a picture of it again from a different place. I wanted to share a few testimonies. This particular, you can just stop it and read it yourself. I'm not going to read it, but at the end of the day, what he was talking about, it was just basically, his view and what was going on, and he was talking about the moon itself and that it's not right and it's not showing up correctly on the smartphone app that he has for Sky Guide. I have a Sky Guide too. I didn't look at it last night, but I'm going to take a look at it now. Here again is that big red halo around the sun, but I've seen this halo when the sun was directly overhead, and I still saw this kind of reddish halo. Very interesting. And then here's one where potentially there's an object there. And here's another moonshot with that object. Very strange. What's neat here is we actually do have a lens flare down here apparently, but yeah, check it out. This one was interesting. Just something seemed to be pouring out of the sun one day, and somebody caught a picture of it. It could be just some kind of a optical effect, but very interesting. You know, a lot of times what we see is the sun will be obfuscated by clouds and make it appear to be two objects. So I'm skeptical that's another object. It might just be escaping light from behind the clouds, but very interesting. Again, moon object. Moon object reversed out. Oh, actually, this one was from Dundee during the day, and actually what they did was they reversed it out and they saw this object in the picture. So this is a daytime shot. Shot of the object, reversed out, shot of the object, real. Dundee. Here's in Arizona, just noting all the chemtrailing going on and everything, but also look at how there's a distinct separation of the light between this and this, so that could potentially be an object up there. We are seeing two orbs above the sun, so I wouldn't be surprised. Here's my sundog. Yeah, that's an interesting sundog. It's one color. It's not ice crystals, otherwise it would be multiple colors, right? What color is that, everybody? It's red or orange. Here's our good old Acapulco showing, you know, again, the two reflections and this weird... That could just be the sun, getting a good direct look at the sun, but interesting. This one was just interesting because of the halo. This is a lens flare, everybody. Remember now, put your thumb up in front of the sun from now on when you're taking these pictures so we can see that it's not a flare. Here's another testimony talking about, you know, do you realize that they've counted 67 days where there are orange-red sunsets? Again, just testimonies from around the world, people comparing notes. Stop it and read it. Here is that. This is my best picture of the day. I cannot explain why there is an obfuscation of sunlight behind this seemingly round object or cloud or whatever it is, with the sun popping out of the top of it. Best picture of the day. This one's interesting because it shows the, you know, this moon, or not moon, but what I think is some kind of the blue Chechnya with its orbiting pulsar, whatever the heck it is. This is really cool. See this little dot right back here, this blue dot? This is the ISS. Bling, it self-illuminates, or gets the reflection of the sun. This is a subscriber that talked about airbrushing from the ISS. Now they're trying to start to hide all this stuff. Read it. And there's our lens flare from Kansas again. So I just wanted to let you guys all get in on a couple of the updates. Check out a couple good videos. I have the links below. Let's be tolerant of each other as we learn this thing. We're